it will happen. Okay, that is what it is. If one wishes to practice the self-hypnotism to achieve any result, he must before you begin that exercise, like straining your eyes and all those things, right? Drowning or himself. So doer himself has to take his body, omit whatever that it has to come out, right? That you have to think before. You have to give instructions before. Okay, then when you are in the trance, then all those things will come outlined. So this is what it is. Okay. Here, what is happening? He uses his own mesmeric power. In that case, hypnotism, the hypnotist, whoever the therapist, is using his mesmeric power on the doer, right? So now he is using his own mesmeric power. Just a minute. Mesmeric power, and he is able to do it. So if he wants anything to be done after he awakens, he must instruct himself, use his mesmeric power in order to himself in the trance state to do it. So whatever you want to do it, you have to give it in the before that. By forming a plan, you have to frame a plan and give that order to your breath form. You yourself actually putting some sculptures into your breath form. You are giving some kind of a print into your breath form. Okay. So at the proper time, so when you are going to the sleep, that the whatever the memories, whatever the things that are there, they may come out in the self-hypnotism. The reason the doer will compel in the trance state is remove your physical environment. When you are in the trance state, it will remove your physical environment, and you are able to, suppose that is what is even some of the things I told you, if I remember, I told you in one of the class, right? So even in meditation, when you are doing, right, so if you give some kind of instruction that I wanted to have it, so many people I heard so many people's experience in the different channels. So whenever you want to remember something, you lost some item, okay, and you want to remember that, so you are actually giving that, I wanted to get that, I wanted to know where it is, and then sit in your meditation, go into the trance state. Definitely you'll go into the trance state, right, when you are in the deep meditation. So you may recall your knowledge. This I have my experience, and many people also I have seen that. So this is initial stages when I just wanted to do some kind of experimentation in the meditation, right? That time I did it. So this is also like, it is also kind of, it is there I use it, that meditation as a tool to go to the trance state. Here he is saying that strain your eyes, look at the light, or look at some concentric circles and go into the sleep. And before that, you give all the instructions in the trance state. You may get it. So this is a different kind. So different tool they are using it. I use the meditation as a tool. So okay, any tool, in order to go to the trance, you can use any tool kind of thing. And like waking state brings, so when you are returning to the waking state, it brings powers with it. Whatever that you actually did it, right? Whatever that you ordered to your mind, all those powers will be coming back to it. And the whoever the doer is trance, certain forces generated and liberated the body. Certain forces are generated in the trance state and liberated the body into the action. So that is what it is. It is doing the self-hypnotism. The practice of self-hypnotism does not entitle the dangers that are there in the hypnotism. Hypnotism, there are some dangers. If you go to the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, sometimes the therapist may not able to recover you from the stage 3, which may leads to death. But this kind here, in case of the self-hypnotism, you do not have that kind of dangers, because you are an authorizer, and you are the subject. You have the power on yourself. You will not do anything negative, or you will not use anything for the, you don't want to harm yourself, right? So nothing will happen. Nearly everything as a hypnotizer can compel, you can compel yourself. Whatever the hypnotizer is doing, you can compel yourself, and you can do it. Self-hypnotism, what you are doing, you are placing that particular wish or whatever the thing on your breath form. And the physical body is going into the natural trance. It is going into the natural state of the 3 states, right? So it is natural state itself. From the doer trance to the natural trance, it is going. So in the natural trance, you are able to recover all the things that it is there. Okay, you may sometimes feel like that's what. So suppose if you have so much of the wish, kind of, I wanted to walk on a rope, kind of some fantasies, right? So in this state, you may do that. You may feel that you have done all those things also. Riding on the horse, seeing over the places, like as you did in the waking state, right? You are capable of thinking all those things because it was there in your mind, a lot of mind. If you think about it and if you go to that natural state, you can feel as if you have done that also, because you are in the dual state, you have some other fears or anything, you are not able to do that. So from the dual state to the nature state, you can go and you are able to do that. Okay, natural state, one can do things impossible when you are in the waking state. When you are waking state, you feel that those things are very impossible and you cannot do it. Those things you are able to do it when you are in the trance state, when you are in the self hypnosis in the trance state. In this way, one can hypnotic state causes, suppose even they are saying that suppose gallstones are there in your body, right? Or some stones are there. You can, in the things that you can hypnotize yourself that, okay, my stones are coming out, naturally they are coming out, that kind of thing. You hypnotize yourself and you just go into the trance state, that those stones may pass out to the bladder. It may go to the bladder and waste, all the things can go out. You may, whatever, if you are putting all the fear, then they may stop also. That's all, like whatever that we are putting, right? So you can remember that, means whenever I'm doing this, we can remember the You Are the Placebo book. What he did it, he imagined himself that one bone is forming, one bone by one bone is forming, with the visualization, with all the self hypnotizing himself or self suggestion, whatever it is, he did it and he is able to do that, right? So similarly, you have the power, you have that power, healing power is already there within you, and that healing power, you can use your self hypnotism, you can remove the inflammation, you can reduce any tumors that you have. All the things is possible with the self hypnotism. You can do all the things by yourself. Okay, some may take a week, some may take a month, some may take a lot, a longer time, but you can do it. Once you have hypnotized himself, at the end does not feel pain. So when you are hypnotizing yourself, right, you will not feel pain, even when you are actually doing some kind of things. So here he will say that even if the sword is going in your shoulder also, you will not feel pain when you hypnotize yourself, because you are in the trance, not really going. So even that kind of thing is coming, right? So you'll not feel having that pain because you are in the trance. In the placebo also they said, right? So when you are in the trance, even the real things also, here in the Second World War, I can bring I remember an example. In the Second World War, they are doing some surgeries because the bullets for all the things, right? So they are doing some surgeries for the soldiers. So at one point they ran out of this, I didn't remember the technical term, the one that gives the anesthesia, right? Kind of thing, that injection, whatever. So they ran out of that medicine. So the nurse saw the doctor. Okay, we ran out of that medicine. Penicillin. Okay. Thank you, Pushpa. Penicillin. So he ran out of that medicine. What did they do? The nurse said, okay, she's just putting the saline water and giving it to the doctor, and doctor is injecting, and the subject is happily sleeping. It is nothing. Actually, the medication is not there. They are just because of the suggestion, they are feeling that they have taken decision, they have taken the anesthesia, and they are sleeping. Okay, and the surgeon was given all the whatever the surgery that he has to do it, he has done it. So here he didn't feel any pain. That is what that is the power that we have. We all have that kind of power. Okay, we can use that power, and we can even not get any pain in this also. Okay. So the sufferers from the unusual diseases, he can tell whether they can be cured. When you are in the self-induced sleep, solve the mathematical problems or questions of engineering, or he may diagnose the conditions of disease in himself or the others. So when you are in the hypnotized field, so similarly, there are so many, even the Newton Choco form to go to sleep. Okay. Not the Newton. I didn't remember exactly one scientist, Einstein. So they did so much experiments in the lab. Okay, they are not getting any idea. So at the end, they went to the sleep, thinking. They went in the sleep. Then they got some idea, because they are already thinking in that state. They are already gave so much of self hypnosis. They are working. But when they go into the trance, they are able to crack that what it is exactly, and they are able to do that. Some scientist, exactly, I cannot say. Einstein or Newton, somebody. Okay, many people, if you see, right, anything, it is not that they have invented something in the lab. They worked on in the lab, they grab all the knowledge, but only when they are in the trance state, or when they are the totally restful state, they got that ideas and they are able to implement. So this is what it is. So when you are not in the doer state, nature's trance state, you are sleeping, you are kind of sleep kind of thing, right? So that is the thing. Here he is saying you can even diagnose the diseases, or you can suggest the diagnosis for the others also in this self-hypnosis state. He can, in the doer trance, recover forgotten knowledge like languages he knew, former existence, interpretation, pronunciation, all the words in a dead language like the Mayas or the ancient Greeks. So here now also you can see, even in the meditator, some people, when they are doing that meditation, when they go to the trance, they will speak some light language, some other language, because there is some forgotten knowledge they have somewhere, some time back they learned, and they have that in their mind. So all those languages they can get back when they are in this subconscious, when they are in the self hypnosis stage. Okay. Self-hypnotism, one may compel himself to feel and know things experienced during the trance after he came out of it. After he came out of it, he will be able to understand, or he will be able to remember. The process of self-hypnotism, then after he is in his waking state, he will record the distinct scenes, places, persons, which the sight has shown him. So whenever he is in the hypnotic self-hypnotism, he went to the trance, right? Whatever the places and people that he met, whatever the things, he can record it once he came out of the state. He may write down the sense of hearing that he has had reported. He may write down the sensations and diagnosis he had been made of the disease, if he has not already dictated them in the trance as an attendant. So whatever that has happened in the trance state, he will remember as soon as he comes. He can record all those things in the what happened in the hypnotic state. If he so desires, he will be more relaxed to be states like a fearlessness, equanimity, endurance, and will master his natural feelings. He can do that also. I'm getting fear for that. No, I'm not getting. Tomorrow I will go and do that. I'll crack it. I'll do it. I don't have any fear. So you can self-hypnotize like that also. When you are hypnotizing yourself like that, you can come back and you can able to do that task. Attempts to practice the self-hypnotism is accomplishment, the self-improvement. What are the benefits? Self-improvement, physical as well as moral, mental, all the things you can find the results. You can normalize, or you can just nullify your doubts and fears through your self-hypnosis. Self-hypnotizer may not be, suppose he will get confused. When he will get confused is if you are not honest to yourself. That is where the self-hypnotism may fail, may lead to a confusion, because within you something is there, but you are hypnotizing yourself something else. Okay, then the problem comes. Actually, whatever that inside feeling, right, you have to believe in one thing. What you want to is very clear. Whenever I counsel some of the people, right, there is so much confusion people are living in. They want something, but they act differently. They are not sure about what they want. Suppose if I say that, I recently, when I talked to people, what makes you happy? Simple question, right? After listening all the stories, I'll ask, what makes you happy in this whole situation? Leave this, forget about this. What are the situations that makes you happy? They will think 100 times. They don't know what makes them happy. That is where the problem is. You should know what makes you happy. Because when you don't know what makes you happy, what is happening? Everything else is affecting your consciousness. Everything else around the world is actually poking the holes into your consciousness. That is why your energy is getting depleted. Suppose if you know what makes you happy, whatever they think, let them think. I will do what makes myself happy. Because you are clear on your path. When you are clear on your path, you cannot. So here also, in self-hypnosis, when you know what is right, you can just, suppose inside there is one thing, but you are hypnotizing one thing, then you will get confused actually. Then you will get confused and this will not work properly. So that is the one, that clarity you should have when you are doing the self-hypnosis. Okay. Self-hypnosis may or may not be done by anybody, because going to the trance and straining, some techniques, some kind of tools you have to use, some kind of techniques you have to use, right? But instead of that, you can use the self-suggestion. This can be done by anybody. Okay. Self-suggestion. So intentional use of the positive thinking, examples of a formula that we'll see. Here, this is what the many people are lacking, right? What is that? Is self-suggestion. They want something. Let us take, oh, I want to get A in my grade. Oh, the next minute itself, oh, I don't have that kind of capabilities. So where is that? What is that you want? What is that you are releasing? What the thought you are releasing to the universe? When you want to A, stick on that. I want this. Then you have to give your self-suggestion that I am capable, I can do it, that kind of thing, right? Always you should be giving your self-suggestion, the positive self-suggestion. So this is a problem, not only because not only the spiritual people or anything, even for any other thing also, you should be clear what you want. When you want, you can give the right positive thinking. When you want something, give a positive thinking. As I told you the last class, when you want to run for a marathon, but you have some pain in your knee or a leg, oh, you should not wish for, I don't want pain. That is not the right wish. What is that wish you want to? I should be able to run the marathon. I can run it. I'm practicing daily. From tomorrow onwards, I'll practice nothing. So that is kind of the wish that you have to. That is the self-suggestion when you are giving. You always keep yourself in a positive thinking or a miraculous thinking. Do not go to the neutral or a negative thinking. Neutral thinking, you are not achieving anything. Negative thinking, you are poking holes into your consciousness, right? So these two things, leave about it. What you should do is positive and miraculous thinking that you should. So when you are giving a self-suggestion, this is not a self-hypnosis. You are giving a self-suggestion. You are saying that I can do it. I'm able to do that kind of thing, right? The difference is the self-suggestion, the doer does not put the body or itself into the artificial sleep. Here you are not actually putting yourself into the consciously you are giving your self-suggestion. Self-suggestion, you are giving an impression on your breath form. While you are awake, you are giving an impression on your breath form. And the physical body or the doer itself are doing it. With the physical body, the doer itself is doing it. He is not actually unconscious. He is not becoming unconscious, and he is not giving anything in the in the trance state or unconscious state. Okay, self-suggestion plays a part in self-hypnosis, but self-hypnosis does not come in self-suggestion. Remember, self-suggestion should be there even in the self-hypnosis, because you have to suggest yourself before you go to the trance. But here, self-suggestion is the one which you can do when you are awake. When you are totally awake, you can do it. People recognize extraordinary results and sometimes produced by the intentional self-suggestion. Okay, but the still more extraordinary results of the unintentional self-suggestions are generally unrecognized. What he is saying is, you will get, whenever you are giving a self-suggestion, you will get extraordinary results, both expected intentional and unintentional results you will get it. But unintentional results, you will not recognize because you didn't intend it for it, right? So you will not recognize it. I'll give you my own life example. I think, I don't know whether if I told any time. So when my son was taken in kindergarten or first grade, I don't remember, he was stamped as, okay, he has some kind of spectrum and he cannot do this kind of thing. I was fighting like, okay, no, he's a normal kid, he can do it. And what is that self-suggestion? That means, what is that positive enforcement? You are smart kid, you are kind of thing, right? Really, I never took any kind of accommodations or anything in the school that was that would have been provided, but he was successfully able to compete with other kids and do it, because The self-suggestion that the self-suggestions I made him to do for himself is, you are the smart guy. So similarly, whenever you are doing for yourself also, that as a mother, I gave it to him. But the thing is, what here is, you have to give to yourself. I'm a smart, I can do it. I can come out and talk. I can do anything. So when one can do it, that's what I always say. When one can do it, anybody can do it. Only thing is, you need to have that kind of power within you. You need to have that kind of self-motivation within you. So even many people I have seen, when everything goes well, they said, oh, I cannot drive. Oh, I cannot take care of those things. So many things they will say. But when the time comes, if some unfortunate things has happened in their life, they will drive, they will do all the things by themselves, and they will excel like anything. Why? Because they pulled out their things when the need comes. It is all the thing is, it is your own self-intentional. You should have that. That is what self-suggestion, if you can give it, you are able to do anything that you wanted to do it. Self-suggestion is based on the facts. Thinking is active or a passive, right? So self-suggestion, that thinking. So you are making that passive thinking has usually more power than active thinking, they will say. Active thinking, what you are saying is, you are actually pulling down yourself to active. Passively, if it is happening, so slowly the picture, suppose if you are saying, right, if I am saying something in the class, that actively you have to put all your senses into my class, and then only you are able to understand. Suppose if I show some 4 or 5 pictures, okay, on these things, then those pictures passively it will go into your mind. The sounds, taste, or the pictures, all those things, it goes passively into your mind. And whenever that particular context comes to, just like that, you'll remember. Because the passive thinking are naturally it will go and retain in your mind so well more than active thinking. Active thinking means you have to keep. We are doing some n things in the multitasking. So when you have to do forcibly active, and also when you are active thinking, after 1 hour or after certain time, you'll get stressed out, tired. You will not able to focus that much in the active thinking. Whereas in passive thinking, because the figures, all those things is the one which is making you so well, right? So they are able to because they will go into your involuntary nervous system. Directly they are going into the involuntary, rushing through your senses. All these taste, smell, sounds, pictures, they are rushing through your involuntary nervous system, and they are actually going and making a print in your breath form. Because of that, whenever you see that kind of smell later, whenever you see that kind of taste, it will come back. See, remember, whenever you are eating something, oh, I remember this taste is when my mom makes that day, this taste come. You'll remember these things, remember. But what your teacher told, or whatever that we taught in the first or second episode, do you remember that? You will not remember, because here we need a lot of active thinking, whereas those things are passively it went into it. Suppose if I say, do you remember a figure with the 4 or 5 layers of the things? You remember, because the picture is there, the man picture is there, there are an aura kind of thing, 4 or 5. That because that picture I show you, you will remember that, because the picture went in as a passive thinking. That is how it will happen. That is how the active and passive thinking will work. Passive thinking will directly go into the breath form and make a mark. It compels active thinking on subjects, and passive thinking so ultimately compels the thoughts. So it is whenever there is a passive thinking, it compels an active thinking also sometimes, because that is what I've said. When you see that smell, suppose when you just somebody had some perfume and came into the office, and it's a jasmine smell, I guess. Do you use the jasmine perfume? That kind of thing, right? Because that smell is already recorded in your senses. Through your senses, you got it and it remembered. You just got it back. Suppose if somebody says jasmine smell is like this, that, this, and all, actually you have to remember, but you will not be able to sense immediately as in the passive thinking. That's what here is saying. The senses are nearer the breath form of the elemental nature. The senses are near the elemental nature, and these senses are going through the involuntary nervous system. Therefore, the senses are geared into the breath form and grip closer than does it in the voluntary nervous system, because they are geared into the involuntary nervous system. Passive thinking is almost the same as nature imagination. Active thinking is same as do your imagination, whereas passive thinking is the same as the nature imagination. Nature imagination is including the passive thinking. Passive thinking, which the present sense impressions take the connections with the long memories, whatever the memories that you have done, with the feelings of the doer in relation to the memories. In passive thinking, the senses and impressions they bring play the feelings and desires of the doer. They play the feelings and desires of the doer under the light of intelligence. Remember, under the light of intelligence, all these things will happen. Passive thinking often functions as a nature imaginations because pictures, sounds, tastes, smells are all the contacts calling upon associated with the similar impressions that happened in the past in your life. Coming to the active thinking. Active thinking is an effort, actually, the doer has to keep an effort to hold the light of intelligence. You have to hold that light of intelligence. Actively, you should use the subject presented by the doer itself in the senses. You should take the active. This requires the pressure of the desire. This requires the pressure of the desire. Because when you want something, you should put the pressure of the desire. With this pressure, active thinking begins. Once makes the impressions and the brain. So you are forcibly putting some impression and you are actually putting that impression on your breath form. Usually this impression is faint because the doer cannot focus continuously and give the undivided attention. That is the reason, that, as I told you, right? You will not remember this, whatever we told in the 10th session, if I ask, because it is hard for the doer to give undivided attention to this particular active thinking. Passive thinking, it is passively going with the sounds and also it is they can remember. Active thinking, this is the problem. The force of passive thinking can be used as remedy the trouble results of the disease and want. Whereas passive thinking produces them, even to bring about the active thinking that will be right. Well, it is the most impossible for the doer to think out itself the righteous thoughts and will produce the righteous act. It is impossible for, suppose I said, right, suppose there is a pain. So you always think about the pain. As somebody says, right, okay, meditation, I want to do the meditation. So what should I do? So somebody went to the guru. Guru said, okay, next 10 minutes, don't think about monkeys. Okay. When he don't, oh, this is only I can go and do the meditation. He closed his eyes, all monkeys are coming, monkeys are jumping, monkeys are doing, because you are actually, when you are saying that you should not, then that is only coming into your active thinking phase. So active thinking, suppose if I say that you should remember, you have to focus on your thing, on your breath only. All the time you have to focus on your breath only. Then you are sleeping because you have to put so much effort. Whereas if you don't want it, that will come pass automatically, because it's passive. Monkey means you have some figure, right? So monkey, what it does, is hopping from plant to plant, all those things you are actually imagining and you are able to keep it in yourself. That is the problem. So righteous acts and righteous ones, to remember, you need to put a lot of effort. It is not even difficult to lead the doer by means of passive thinking into the active thinking that produce the thought. So what he is saying is, by means of, suppose if you want to do something active thinking, do remember some figures, remember something. So make that as an active thinking, so that which will exteriorize honesty, morality, health, and peace. So whenever you want to get all those things also, you can make that as an active, from passive to active, and then give the self-suggestion, you can achieve it. Self-suggestion is the name given to the intentional use of passive thinking for these purposes. So you are keeping some of the things into the passive thinking, because so that you will remember all the time. Otherwise, active thinking, you are not able to focus all the things, right? So what you are doing is you are intentionally keeping all these things into the passive thinking, so that you will remember and you are able to achieve the purpose. The large majority live by passive thinking, and this determines their lives. Passive thinking, whatever it is going on under our mind, right, that only is determining your life. Most of the things, not the active thinking that they are doing. Let us say, I'll give a simple example. Again, being a lady, so many people are here. So you went and see something in the store. Could be sari, or could be jewelry, or could be something. So you said, okay, I don't want, I have enough, and you come back because you liked it. The passive thinking will keep on running. Someday, okay, this is bothering me, let me go and get it. Okay, this, suppose if you can use this in a positive way, if you can use this passive thinking in a positive way, when something is bothering, when something, okay, you went to somebody's house, oh, they have 2 racks of books, and she's saying, okay, this book I read it, now currently I'm reading this book, and this book essence is like this, and she or he is keep on telling. So if that is bothering you in a passive thinking, what you will do? You make that whatever the habit as a passive thinking, and then go and buy books and go on. So whatever, if you want to achieve something, you can make something like whatever you want to achieve, make it as a passive thinking, make it as a purpose, so that you can get use of the book reading habit, you can get into that, because you are keeping that in the passive thinking. Okay, so majority, whatever you put it in this passive thinking, all your goals, you keep it in the passive thinking, and try to get your passive thinking, steer your life, lead your condition, lead your senses. In that case, you can achieve your goals. The 4 senses present objects to the doer, play with them under the diffuse light of intelligence. So usually they are actually playing under the diffuse light of intelligence. So if the doer considers these objects, passive thinking begins and impressions become fixed on the breath form. So then, suppose you have that kind of fear, danger, belief, all those things, and impossibility, all these things are there in your, somewhere it is there. So these thinking, these realizes the danger, prevents the danger, all those things, it is preventing your accomplishment, because you are already thinking in that thing, right? If they are, because with the kind of fear, you are not able to swim, so that accomplishment, you are not able to do it. With the fear of that you may fail, you are not able to try something, because it is hindering your success. The concentrated fears, one's desire behind the definite thinking, overcomes these notions. So concentrated thinking, you concentrated, no, I don't have that kind of fear, I can do that. That kind of thinking, you passively you do it. This is especially so when the memory of the past experiences connected with the similar impressions and strengthen them. Suppose, as I told you, this thing somewhere in the class. So last lifetime, you must have died with some water accident. So that is there within your mind. So whenever you see the water, whenever you want to swim, you feel like, no, I don't want, because some kind of danger is actually coming. Some passive thing, something is there. So you have to put active thing, that fearlessness, you have to keep it in your actively, you have to keep something in your passive mind. And no, I can do that kind of thing. Then slowly you can change your habits. From fear to fearlessness, from impossible to the possible, all the things, from anxiety to the peace, all the things you can change. A person who is afraid of walking through the woods in the night may have his hair turn gray, or may contact a fear that if he forced to spend the dark night in the forest, fear that swelling will become the malignant tumor, tends to become the grow inside. So if you are having that kind of fear, right, what will happen? That's what it may grow as a tumor also, because you're always thinking that kind of passively, you are thinking something will happen, that kind of thing, right? Constant fear also will lead to the tumor, or will lead to the anything. I gave an example also, right? One of my friends, she always used to think, I may get a breast cancer because my mom has a cancer, I may get it. Finally, one day she got it. That's what she said. I keep on testing all the time, because someday I have to face it, because that is the one she manifested. Okay, that's the fear, right? The fear of that she'll get a cancer is the one she always passively think, and finally she got it. But once she got it, right, somehow, because I have seen her journey as I'm helping her throughout her cancer duration. So she started reading so much books. She understand what exactly the life is. Then she says, Prasanna, nothing will happen, because even if we go, we are easily replaceable. Everybody, after 10 days, everybody will go in their own lives. So we should not worry about them. We have to worry about what is that. So that kind of knowledge, right? She learned so much. Happiness is not a destination to reach. Happiness is a journey. These kind of things she used to tell me whenever I go to help something. So this is that thing, because again, she forcibly kept some of the things into the passive thinking, that nothing will happen even if she is not there. Why to get fear? So when she kept that one, right, whatever is happening will happen. That kind of thing, she took it, then slowly she got healed. So this is the one. You, whenever you want to have something, you have to keep. Suppose infectious diseases also, there are so many people who just left and right went to the offices and came. Even forget. I also went from 2020 to 2022 October. I never got any COVID because I'm doing my own things. I invited the people, all the things, even before the. Even before vaccination also, I invited, I'm meeting all the people. The fear is not there. If you have that fear, right, nothing will happen, let it be, kind of thing. So many people with the fear only, they invited the COVID to them. One is, oh, maybe I got it, maybe I may be exposed, maybe I got a COVID. That's what he's saying. With the greater the fear, the infectious diseases catch up soon, catch up fast. So if you are a fearless, then this will not catch up. Remember that. Okay. A person pursued himself that he cannot remember the figures, names, places. He will not remember because he is already saying that I cannot remember. So he disqualifies himself to start remembering itself. Because of that, he is not able to remember. Suppose a person who is walking in the sun and, oh, I'm tired. So once you started feeling that you are tired, you may collapse. Once you said, what is there? 2 more miles only, I can walk. They can walk. This is all in your mind. What suggestion that you are giving to your mind? If you are giving to your mind that I'm tired, you will get tired. If you're giving to your mind, I have energy, then you can just go and do that. When I walked in recently, the last December, I went to Tiruvannamalai. I went to the Giri Pradakshina, 14 miles. After 4 hours of 14 miles, I came back and I worked, I slept, and again morning I went to the different place. So 14 miles I can work and I can do my normal life. But if I do the any other day, oh, I got tired. So today I did a lot of work. That kind of feeling, because that is a self-suggestion I am giving. But when you go to the temple, you are not feeling that. You are not giving that kind of self. You are feeling some kind of divine force is there and that is taking care of some kind of thing, right? So you are actually able to do that. So this is what it is. So from your whatever that's unconscious mind and subconscious the mind, the theories, right? What you are feeding to that, right? So you are getting, so subconscious mind, you may have some fear, but what you are feeding to your conscious mind, if you are feeding that, if you are taking that fear and if you are feeding the fear, then these two will, and you will collapse, because you have to feed your involuntary nervous system by means of the 4 senses. You have to feed the right things. Whenever you are feeding that nature senses, right, from the nature impressions of his own doer, then you are able to get and you are able to do achieve the things. The impression relates the feelings, the desires, and the of the doer itself, and bound to follow the lines of impression. Whatever your feelings and whatever the desires, right? So it can be a righteousness or a moral matters or intelligent matter, anything. So your feelings or your desires will mark on it. The breath form of the lines compel the doer to follow them, and it's a desire of mental activities. It compels, the breath form, it compels to follow the desire of your breath form. According to this science, which has made by thinking, the doer feels joy and gloom, ease or anxiety, fear or anger, all those things, whatever that you are actually given, honesty or dishonesty. So these lines, whatever that you are feeding to your things, whatever that you are suggesting, right, concentrated force, what you stamped on your breath form, that is what you are getting it. That is what you are actually, your life is. Thinking, feeling, acting, or doing on these lines only. So I will stop here. In unintentional self-suggestion, I'll take it in the next class because we are already 8:30. So yeah, it was not complete one. Unintentional self-suggestion, I'll talk in the next session.